the Opportunity Party wants to ditch New Zealand super. And before you freak out, if you're on super now, you would be fine. But they say that it would be fairer to future generations than raising the pension age. It comes amid Treasury warnings about the increasing cost of an ageing population. Qiulae Wong is the party leader, joins us this morning. Qiulae, good morning.
Good morning, Ryan.
So, sounds pretty dramatic. Can you just walk us through, you're not taking away everyone's super.
No.
Obviously a few hoops to get through before you even get to that point, right? But let's assume that you're in some sort of position of power.
Yeah.
How does it work?
So it's not about ditching super. We absolutely have to look after our older people as they age. That is incredibly important in our society. But the reality is it's part of a tax and benefit system which is creaking, and our politicians keep digging their head in the sand as that, the cost of superannuation continues to balloon. So our proposed solution is to introduce a citizen's income, and that is paid to almost all adults. There is some means testing as part of that, so if you're on a really high income, you don't receive it.
$350K?
About there. And so that then also, that replaces some benefits, including superannuation. It is lower than a superannuation payment, so there are still top-ups that would be made, and no one would receive any less than what they're currently receiving. The goal over time would be to introduce that means testing also to people over the age of 65. So if you are still earning quite a lot, or you have a lot of assets, and you can afford not to receive that top up, then you wouldn't.
Okay.
So we think that will make a more affordable benefit system in the long run.
Why should everyone get paid? First of all, how much is it a week?
It's roughly in line with the job seeker benefit, so it's about $350 a week.
So everyone, unless you're really rich or doing really well, everyone gets the job seeker benefit.
Partly. The other side of it is a land value tax. So this is part of a whole tax reset system.
I want to come to that.
You'd pay back in land value tax what you essentially receive in citizens' income.
If you have property,
yes.
If you have land, then you would pay that back.
Yes.
So, that sounds, okay, so you giveth and you taketh away.
Yep, and there may be a very small percentage of people who are on a high salary that don't own property. In New Zealand, I think that's a very small minority. And actually, those people are probably, if they've got that extra cash, will then be investing that money into businesses, into things like our infrastructure, which needs serious investment through funds and things like that. So there may be a small percentage that get a bit of a benefit. Not many.
How do you know? If someone's living in Westport versus Auckland, then presumably the land tax is going to be different because the property value is different.
Absolutely.
So you would be paying more potentially than you are getting back from your job seeker benefit in Auckland, for example.
Possibly, and the way that we've worked it out is that those on middle income-ish, they shouldn't really feel much change. The whole idea of the citizens' income is to support those on lower income levels who are really struggling at the moment. We have people who aren't on benefits but who are struggling to put food on the table, who have to choose between feeding their kids or transport to go to a job interview.
But we have working for families. Why not just there's a mechanism there already. This is very complicated.
We do, but our current mechanism is very complicated too. You just talk to anyone that has to go into a WINZ office to try and navigate that system at the moment, and there are people that have stopped engaging with it because it is
working for families,
going in and filling in the forms and having
that's IRD, working for families. It's done through at the end of the year, washed up in your personal tax summary, so it's not as complicated by any stretch as what you're suggesting for middle New Zealand.
A citizen's income would be pretty straightforward because it removes a lot of the bureaucracy from our welfare system. So we'd save a bunch of jobs and money from MSD, and actually, simplify that system for people and for the taxpayer as well.
With the tax, how do you figure out what my property's worth every year and therefore what to tax me on income I haven't earned?
So we already have a mechanism for valuing land, and you do that through our rates. So we have that mechanism there, unlike the capital gains tax, which Labour's proposing, which there's currently lots of to and fro around how will property actually be valued for that. So we already have a way of doing that for land value tax. So that we could easily.
You just use the council valuation.
Exactly.
Okay. And how many people would be worse off financially?
So when we release all of the figures, people will be able to go in and actually use a calculator to figure out their current position versus their potential future position. Those on low and middle incomes will be better off. Those on really low incomes will be much better off than they currently are today.
Would I not just sell my property, get your free money and then invest in shares?
Yeah, that would be great. We need a lot more people to. The amount of money in New Zealand that is locked up in property at the moment is astronomical, and it's really holding us back.
Yeah, but second and third properties I can understand, but primary, for, your family home. What's wrong with that?
Well, no, and that's people should still want to hold on to their property, and owning a house can still be an aspiration for lots of people. I own my own home, and I still would want to own my own home in this future, but I'm not going to think about buying second and third properties as a goal for my, saving for my retirement. I might put that money into other more productive things.
Qiulae, you had a goal coming into this of 150,000 voters supporting.
Yep.
I saw in the last poll, the TV1 poll, you were up.
Yep.
Yeah. Where are you at with your goal?
Yeah, so all of the polls we've been tracking up, which is really good. They obviously, vary wildly in what the actual percentage is, but over the last 3 months, they have all been trending up. So we are on the right track.
What are you tapping out at? Because you need 5%.
Yeah.
You're a long way from 5%.
Yeah, we've still got a long way to the election, and so my goal is to get to that 5% well in advance of the election date.
Ambitious?
We've got to be ambitious for New Zealand, right?
Appreciate your time this morning, Qiulae. Thanks for coming in as always. Qiulae Wong, who's the Opportunity Party leader.